So I love this microphone, right? This is the Shure SMB SM7B.
Should I start before you start talking about your microphone so that we have relatable content?
Relatable content. Our content doesn't need to
Hey,
be
Ben
relatable.
Lawrence! Oh God, that's too
Oh,
loud. I'm gonna
goody.
start over. I blew it out.
That's what I was saying about this microphone. It's turned all the way up in my on my little USB thing. It's a pretty industry standard Shure SM7B microphone. You see these used on podcasts all the time. The sound quality is great, but the volume, I'm not peaking. I'm turned up to the max on the audio dial, and I got to be right up on it.
Hmm.
I got to be this
Well, it's
close.
better than me, I think. What I'm
Like
doing.
if I even lean back in my chair, you can't hear me.
Oh, I can
I,
hear you, but
I can hear me
you're
too
on
through
top.
you.
Yeah, yeah. Ben Lawrence.
Ben Lawrence. Soccer
It
Tuesday.
is podcast time, my friend.
Hey, I did something last night. You want to know what I did?
Yeah, what'd you do last night?
I did something that I've been waiting 30 years to do, Paul. I saw Soul Coughing live at the Showbox.
Oh my gosh, Ben, I forgot about this. We talked about this earlier on the podcast.
They're playing Chicago soon, and I was like, we should go see the show in Chicago. But ain't nobody got money for that. Plus, by the time I looked at tickets, it was all sold out.
Yeah. And I don't know if I'm going to be in Chicago at that time. Although we're getting there, Ben. We're getting there. At the time that when do we normally broadcast?
Monday, 8 a.m.
By the time this broadcast,
Well,
I will be a week away of moving.
I mean, technically, we are broadcasting right now.
Well, yeah. Good point. By the time this airs,
Yeah. By the time it drops.
by the time it drops, although those on the YouTube channel will find out now. Anyway, on Monday, the 23rd, it will be a week before I move. So pretty exciting. Which means I know that Ben, we had talked about, you're going on a trip at some point in time, and maybe you'll see me in Chicago. Maybe you'll see me here. You will see me in Chicago.
I've
It's
made
pretty.
plans for that.
It's pretty good. I mean, we pretty much stuck with the plans that we had.
Yeah.
If you listen through to the podcast, there was a hope that I would be moving when I'm moving, which is what's happening. So good job.
Life is on rails.
It is going to be a problem, not a big problem, but a problem for me, because here's what's happening. I think we've worked this out. Did we work this out last time?
Last time the conversation was mostly about all the surprise charges and things
Oh
that
yeah,
were happening, and you were being
yeah.
kept up at night because of the financial situation.
So far it's looking a little bit better, but here's the issue now. So we close on the house, right?
Yeah.
In order to do that, we have to physically be there.
Yeah.
The next day, they're packing the house up, and we technically have to be there for that. So we're going to be in Chicago, and then we're going to sign the stuff, and then we're going to come back to Illinois. And then Jennifer and Betty are going to take the animals and drive to Chicago. I'm going to stay there while they pack up. I'm going to stay there while they load, which will be the next day.
Yeah.
And I won't have any internet because I'm going to have canceled it at that time. And then we're canceling it on the 1st. And then I'm going to be taking the internet stuff to a UPS store to mail it away. Because unfortunately, the internet provider that we have here doesn't operate there.
Yeah, so you got to mail back your modem.
I got to mail back my modem. Then I also have to go to the place that we rent from and give them our keys.
Yeah.
And then I have to go to the Amtrak station in Alton, Illinois, and catch the train to Chicago. And all of that hopefully is happening on Tuesday, but it might happen on Wednesday.
You only have the one car, right? So you're Like,
Yeah,
you're doing all this on foot?
well, this is the problem. I'm gonna be doing it all on foot.
Yeah.
The other option is that we go down with the cat and the dog and everything for the signing, and Jennifer just stays there. The problem with that is that I then have to get back, and it just works better to do it that way.
Yeah.
But I can do it all.
A lot
The
of
hard part
logistics
is,
to figure out.
yeah, it's just getting around from place to place. I need to find somebody who'll drive me. Is the thing. I guess I could take Ubers and stuff.
How long does it take to summon an Uber in Edwardsville, Illinois?
I don't know. I don't know. Never had to do it. Jennifer knows.
If like that service is available there?
Huh?
All right.
Yeah.
Just one
It's
dude.
available everywhere, man. Yeah, it's a guy named Uber, and he just shows up and tells you what your problems are, and then you don't want to drive anywhere.
No.
So,
Problem solved.
problem solved. So I'm pretty excited. We're getting closer and closer.
So what? Wait, remind me of the days because that may impact when we record.
Oh, well, I hope to be in Chicago on Tuesday evening.
Tuesday, October, the first Tuesday of October.
Mhm.
Okay.
Or depending on how late it takes to load everything, it may happen on Wednesday. I might do that. I might give myself the Wednesday to take care of all the stuff and go to Chicago.
Yeah.
Which would mean sleeping in the house where there's no stuff.
Yeah.
Because everything will have been taken out. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should plan on getting there Wednesday.
It's a lot to figure out.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'll be able to record because I don't know where the if the stuff will be hooked up yet. Internet. It should be, hopefully.
Well, we could always just do like a retro podcast recording where you're just on the phone and you have a little handheld recorder.
Yeah, or I'm
don't
just on the
stream it.
phone and my audio sounds horrible. Think about that. It's a possibility.
Can't do that anymore, actually.
Oh no. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. We may, if we have to do it later, we'll do it later. We might be late that week.
Keep me abreast of your plans.
Oh, hey, but let's talk about Soul Coughing then.
Soul Coughing.
How was it?
My God, it was great. It was like listening. It was like putting the 3 studio albums on shuffle. And
wow.
And the only reason I say that is because there was very little intra-song banter.
Really?
They came out. I don't even think Mike Doty said hello. They came out, just started off with "I Miss the Girl." After every song, Mike Doty would say "thank you" during the applause break, and then they would go right into the next song. It's like they were, and they started late, so maybe that was sort of the thing because like they started almost a half an hour late.
Was there an opener?
There was no opener.
Wow.
It was just they played for about an hour and a half. There was like at one point, between about half the way through, like Mike Doty introduced the drummers by name, and then they played a song, and then he introduced the keyboardist, and then they played another song, and then he introduced the bassist, and then he did this thing that he has done on his solo tours. Which is the only time he ever like really interacted with the audience, which is right before one of the songs he says, "This is going to be the song before the fake last song."
Yeah.
And then he described like what's going to happen after the fake last song.
And then we're going to pretend that we're done.
We're going to turn around.
You're going to pretend
Actually, when he was before he would tour with the band, he would actually go stand over there for a minute while the audience like went crazy.
I think he did that at one that you and I were at.
But that was the only time, and I was actually reading the Soul Coughing subreddit, and apparently this is sort of the vibe throughout the whole tour so far. there's very little interacting with the audience, very little like joking around. And you and I, we went to go see Mike Doty a lot. He would spend a lot of time between songs just like talking about stuff,
Yeah.
and like not like
And
getting
we
to know.
loved it.
Yeah,
People liked it.
and not getting to know the audience, but letting the audience get to know him.
Yep.
And none of that. So it was part of me is wondering, like, because you and I both know, and some people in listening might know the history of Mike Doty with the other band members.
Sure. Yeah.
And at some point, this reunion tour seemed an impossibility. Like it was
Right.
never going to happen. And in fact, they were selling tour T-shirts with all the states on the back, and above all the states, it was said, "We said this would never happen." They were kind of like acknowledging,
Yeah.
who thought we were actually gonna be a thing. And so over the course of, Mike Doty went down like in the darkest depths of his hatred for his former band.
Mhm.
Like if you yelled out one of a soul coughing song at one of his concerts, he wouldn't have the security kick you out, but that's kind of what he wanted. That's sort of he really didn't like to acknowledge that his former band existed. And then over the course of like the intervening 20 years, maybe it's not been that long, but he started to slowly get like he worked soul coughing songs back into his his solo live shows. He re-recorded a bunch of them, which had mixed results, mixed reception.
Yeah.
And
Again, it's just like any remake. You can't imagine it to be the other song. It
Yeah.
has to be its own thing.
Exactly. And it was especially weird coming from like the same artist, right? Because like you already recorded the song. We know what it sounds like when you sing this song.
Yeah.
And then like I want to say
Why are the dogs barking? Why is that happening?
I want to say it's been 2 or 3 years ago. Mike Doty posted a photo or video, I don't remember exactly which, to his Instagram of him like joining the bassist Sebastian Steinberg on stage at one point, and that kind of blew everybody's mind because it's like, no, at that point, Mike Doty was like telling the fan base, "Look, I'm kind of like I'm accepting these people into my life again," and so this whole tour is I couldn't grok from their interactions on stage if this was Mike Doty saying, "Hey, let's do this," or a management company saying, "If you guys can tour and not kill each other on the tour, you'll make a lot of money."
Yeah.
And it felt like it was kind of half and half because because Mike Doty didn't really interact with all the band members a lot. Like the drummer Yuval Gabe started playing when he shouldn't have, and Mike had to like go and stop him. And then they shared a moment, and it was like on the side of the stage I was on, and I could see that it wasn't like a tense moment. It was like Yuval was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I fucked up."
What do you remember what song it was on or anything like that?
It was actually the fake last song.
Oh yeah.
And Yuval had to it was the song before the fake last song because Mike Doty had to like give the whole speech, so he had to stop Yuval from playing so he could like tell the audience it was the song before the fake last song. And all the other band members, it was like as Paul F. Tompkins would say, at like a jazz concert when one guy screws up and all the other ones laugh at him,
Yeah.
I could see all the other band members kind of like giving Yuval Gabe grief for messing up that moment. But yeah, I think it really felt a lot like it was a like Mike Doty and the band members got to a point where they could play together. They could be on tour, like on a tour bus with each other for however long the tour is taking. And at the same time, some company, some management or tour company, I really don't know how the business works, was like, you guys can make a lot of money. We'll charge. Because your audience are middle-aged white dudes who have disposable income.
Yeah.
And like, I can't remember. I think the tickets were like, for me, for one ticket, general admission, like 80 some dollars, you know?
Wow.
That's more money than I would spend to go see a lot of things. And I'm still dropping, $30 for 2 drinks at the venue.
You know what I just thought of? I am now older than Tom Waits was when I went to see him at the Fifth Avenue Theater in Seattle.
And he probably looked ancient then too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, it was like, it really was. I really hate saying it, but it was really, this might be the last time I will ever get a chance to see him live. And it was, but not for that reason.
Yeah.
At one point in time, he threw glitter on his band, which was interesting.
I bet the people at the Fifth Ave loved that.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that, Ben. Oh no.
There is still glitter in the Fifth Avenue Theater from that one time Tom Waits threw it on his band.
There probably is.
Yeah, it's
right.
Herpes at the theater world is what they call it. But
I need to say, Ben, earlier today I was talking like this.
Okay.
And I was thinking, when I moved to Chicago, I could choose to talk like this all the time. And then I was like, no,
reinvent myself.
Betty and Jennifer would kill me. I still think about that. That maybe I'm raising Betty to eventually murder me, like in a euthanasia kind of situation.
I think she probably would have already done it by now.
Well, you never can tell. She might be biding her time,
playing the long game.
So, yes.
Yeah, but just to wrap up on Soul Coughing, it they sounded tight. They were extremely faithful to the source material, which was good. Like, I don't know what the last time you saw Mike Doty in concert was, but he likes to deconstruct and play with the songs and break them down. And there was very, very little of that during the show. I had a really good seat. I got there super early. And by seat I mean I was up on a second level railing, so I could see over the sea of heads, and
oh nice,
I had a clear shot of the band. I tried to stay present and in the moment. I only took my phone out once to just take a quick picture.
What venue were you at?
It was at the Showbox by the market.
The Showbox, okay.
Yeah. And so I only have the one photo, but if you cobble together all of the footage from all of the phones that were recording the show that night, you could probably put together an entire edit, because at every single point when I looked out into the audience, somebody was filming on their phone.
So, did they, this is the first thing I wanted to ask, did they play any songs that weren't Soul Coughing songs?
Nope.
Did they do a cover of anything? Did they?
It was, every single song was off one of their 3 studio albums.
That's what that's what made me think about it. Was there anything creep in?
It was weighted heavily towards a Ruby Vroom.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some interesting omissions too.
Did they play Circles?
They did play Circles.
And did he not mess with so he didn't mess with the lyrics then at all?
What lyrics are you referring to?
I don't need to walk around with Urkel then. Did he did he do that?
Oh, right. Yeah. No. He didn't mess it up he didn't play with it that way. It wasn't a playful concert. It was workmanlike.
Here you are. This
but,
is
it's they had a show Tuesday night in Portland. They had a show, I think, Monday night in San Francisco, and Wednesday night in Seattle. They were probably just exhausted.
Yeah, they probably showed up, played the thing,
and
then, kept on. And, I mean, back when I interviewed Del the Funky Homo Sapien, I mean, he you're living in a motel room. There's not a lot to do.
Yeah.
and you got to do a show, so you can't really do anything else. So you get there, sleep, you maybe talk to me, if you're unlucky enough to have been talked into it. I think he was okay talking to us. But yeah, uh, just really quick on that. I was like, I had all these questions about his, like, what do you really like science fiction? What about this? What about this? And he was on a completely different trip at that point. He was really into James Brown
Yeah.
and just listening to a whole bunch of old James Brown stuff and wanted to talk about that. And so I scrapped all the notes that I had, and it turned out to be a better discussion, I think.
Well, that's famously what Craig Ferguson did when he had a late night talk show. He made a point of tearing up the blue cards that the
Yeah.
pre-interview would give him, and then just have a conversation with whoever was sitting down.
Can I tell you the best thing that happened in that interview, in my opinion?
With Del the
Not
Funky
even
Homo
me.
Sapien.
Yeah. Chris Harris was there as the camera guy, and he was smoking beaties, which are a type of cigarette.
I'm familiar.
And Del the Funky Homo Sapien noticed them, and they had a little brief exchange about it. And that exchange is one of my favorite things, because it was, as you say, Ben, it was real. It wasn't There was no artifice. It was just them talking about.
So Chris, who's basically on a job, I'm assuming you're in a place that allowed smoking?
Yeah, I don't know how it started. Now that you mention it,
Was
Ben,
he
I
not
don't.
in his hotel room or something?
We were I we were in the hotel room. I think maybe we smoked in the hotel room when we shouldn't have. I didn't really connect it until now. Um,
I mean, when you're a motel or a hotel and you rent a room to a touring musician, you gotta imagine that something's gonna happen.
yeah, that's a really interesting question. I don't remember. You know who else smokes all the time? The Guilty Remnant on the television show that we know as The Leftovers. Ben, I am now in season 3 of The Leftovers. I've watched, at a rapid pace, as I sometimes do.
Yeah,
Binging, they call it.
binging.
Uh, I really like it. Did you watch it ever?
I never saw it. And when
Hmm.
you and Steven were having the text exchange recently about it, I had nothing to contribute because I'd never seen the show. Don't even know what it's
Yeah.
about. Is it about the
He
rapture?
never saw the show either, which is interesting. Okay, so this is one of the great things about Leftovers, in my opinion. They leave it ambiguous. Was it the rapture or was it something else?
Okay.
Right? You don't know. All these people just disappeared. One
Well,
of the characters.
here's a quick clue. Are there clothes left behind?
There aren't clothes left behind, and this is the other thing: is that one of the plot points is that there. Spoilers for The Leftovers, a 10-year-old TV show. Um, one of the main characters is a priest, an Episcopalian priest, and
My grandparents were Episcopalian.
we meet him. Not the same character though. Your grandparents are two people, and they're older than this guy. Um, he basically did this thing where he went around with flyers talking about how the people who disappeared weren't good people. Like, he talked about all the bad things about them,
Yeah.
saying that this isn't the rapture. This is something else. And
It
then there's
can't be because
scientific
that
things.
person's gone and they were a dick.
Do you mind if I tell you something that will maybe spoil it a little bit for you if you ever decide to watch it?
I guarantee you, I probably won't even remember we had this conversation.
Mark Lynn Baker.
Yeah, Perfect
I'll say that.
Strangers is Mark Lynn Baker.
So, in the show, Mark Lynn Baker, canonically Mark Lynn Baker, right, fakes disappearing because his other three cast members, the three main cast members besides him, uh, all departed. That's what they call it, departing.
Okay.
They all departed, and he didn't. So he faked it and went to Mexico. And there's a thing where um, he's caught by cameras and everything like that. And later on, he becomes a bigger member of the show, uh, reaching out to one of the main characters and offering them the opportunity to go someplace. And he plays a really interesting version of himself, kind of like how Carl Weathers did in Arrested Development
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like he's somewhat sketchy, you know, uh, kind of self-centered, sort of.
So wait, is the are you saying that Marklin Baker plays Marklin Baker in the TV
That's
show?
right. That's
Is,
right. He
and,
plays himself.
and you say the cameras is this some sort of like faux documentary style TV show?
Wait, when I say the camera, what?
You said the cameras
my...
caught him. He went to Mexico and the cameras
Oh,
caught him.
sorry. The cameras caught him in a news report that you're watching on TV. So you're watching a news report on TV.
Okay.
Sorry about
gotcha.
that. And they've filmed him getting caught in Mexico. It's really great. So yeah, it's a really good TV show. I really like it. The thing I wanted to talk about a little bit, Steven, and he's not here to talk about it, and it wasn't even something that he said. It was something that he read that somebody else said.
Yeah.
Steven said that the premise doesn't seem to hold up because someone said the premise doesn't seem to hold up or doesn't hold up because a lot of people died during COVID and no one really cared, right? But the thing that's interesting about that statement, I really kind of wanted to find out who wrote it and what did they mean by it, because in the show itself, the whole show is about how people are dealing with this event. And some people just, pretend like it didn't happen. Some people decompensate. It's a whole bunch of different reactions.
Yeah.
And so here's my question. Did you notice at all that the second assassination attempt against one of the people running for president this year just didn't really make any impression? Like, and what I mean by that is, I have been reading the news, right? I've been finding, and when it happened the first time, like, I found out about it because a lot of other people were talking about it.
The first time was
Not
also
many people.
like a shot was actually fired. It was on television.
Yeah.
He was hurt. It was a thing. Whereas this second one, there were no cameras, no shots were fired by the would-be assassin, only by the Secret Service, and the would-be assassin was nowhere near where Trump was.
Oh, okay. So it really was kind of not that big of a thing.
I'm not going to say that some guy with an AK style weapon on Trump's golf course hiding in the bushes isn't a non-event,
Right.
But as far as assassination attempts go, it's below, Trump getting shot at a rally, below, Ronald Reagan getting shot, probably above somebody
below someone scaling the fence at the White House.
Yeah, it's future crimes, right? Was this guy here to actually shoot Trump? Was he going to pull the trigger?
Yeah. It is kind of weird doing that. When I said it is kind of weird doing that, was the guy a Republican?
That's the other thing. He voted for Trump in 2016, voted for Biden in 2020.
Oh.
And I think, but like, was definitely like very hard right leaning.
Yeah.
And maybe it was one of those things where it's like maybe he thought J.D. Vance would be a better presidential candidate. So he was trying to take matters into his own hands, because maybe Trump is getting too soft, or Trump's a moron, or Trump's in cognitive decline, and so he's not going to be able to do what he needs to MAGA.
The one thing that I did see was someone posted a thing that Alex Jones, a friend of the podcast, I'm kidding, not a friend, uh, something that Alex Jones posted or said on a podcast a while back, which was, it would be super if that were to happen, if that assassination were to go through.
Oh, he
How
said
great
that.
it would be. Yeah, not because he doesn't necessarily dig the guy anymore, but because it would accelerate hostilities
Yeah. I mean,
and get rid of the people that make fun of him.
that's just the thing, right? Like, Trump's an autocrat, and he says he's going to be a dictator on day one and all that fun stuff. But, like, at the end of the day, he's too narcissistic to really forward the cause. And so
Yeah,
maybe this time we'll defeat him, but then somebody who is smarter and more tactical will come along.
yeah,
Project 2025 isn't just going to magically go away. It's going to
right,
become
yeah.
Project 2029.
And the thing is that and here's the other. I know this sounds crazy, but bear with me. If someone were to retroactively write everything that's happened, up until this point down, move it back in time 10 years, we would all freak out about that too.
Yeah.
Because there's just some people have bad plans. And now that we know that the plans are happening, it's like if there's a wasp in the room, right? If you see the wasp and you're like, "Oh no, that's going to sting me," you freak out a little bit more. But it'd still sting you if you didn't see it and, backed into it or whatever. So the fact that we see it and we know that it's happening is in some ways better because we have eyes on it. Whereas if we didn't know about it, they would still be trying to get all that stuff passed. It'd just be in somebody's, desktop folder instead of.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just feels like we're the frog in the boiling pot, and the temperature.
Someone used that term, that idea a little while ago, and it seems as though that doesn't actually happen. That frogs are smarter than that.
They try
That's
to get
what
out.
I heard. I heard somebody say that.
No, you got to trap them in there. But anyway, like,
Yeah, if you trap them in there and then they no.
there's a whole bunch of things happening around, like, election boards and
Yeah.
people who are like, there's this whole movement in Georgia to make sure they can actually legally not certify the election results if the results aren't what these people want.
So like a second electoral college, kind of a weird lower electoral college.
Who knows? Like, the things, everything's changing constantly, and so I can't keep track of everything. All I know is not everybody's playing fair.
I just had a petition because there's a. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The people who are crying about the elections being rigged are the ones who are, working to not have free and fair elections. If you
Well, I have to rig the election because people are trying to steal the election.
Yep.
It's what I mean. That's happened. That's a real thing. I don't know enough to talk about it, but I know enough about it to sign a petition. There's a person who's going to be executed by the state of Missouri.
Oh yeah.
On the 24th, and I signed a petition for them to not do that.
Because do I know half this story? Like, this person, he's been cleared. Like, they know he's innocent, but he's getting the death penalty anyway.
It's this weird situation where the prosecutor's office can recommend that someone not be given the death penalty if they think that someone has been wrongly convicted. So that's something the prosecutor's office can do, and they've done that in this case. They've said, we do not want the death penalty to be on this case. And they've even talked about, like, the family of the victim was like, and this is, again, this is why I'm not going to, talk more about it because I don't know.
Right.
The family victim said, you know, his death isn't going to bring us closure. I think it's not even like let him go. It's just give him life without parole instead of the death penalty. Which to me, I was like, okay, well, no matter what, I would sign. For anybody, I'd probably sign that. And hey, if you're a very horrible person, don't say Paul said that he'd sign a thing because I don't know you. I don't know what you've done. But in general, I am more pro-life in prison than I am death penalty.
In the womb.
Yeah. Wait, did you say in the womb?
Yeah.
What happened?
Because you're not pro-life in the womb, but you are pro-life in prison.
Oh, geez. Oh, Ben. Who knows? Who knows? Depends on the situation. But words. Words in my mouth. It's a silly little thing. So, what are you reading? Words is also good.
We still have capital punishment.
Yeah, I don't know. Does Illinois have it? Does Washington have it?
No, I don't believe we do.
I don't think Illinois does either. Let me find out. Fact checking.
Hey.
Something we don't do on this podcast.
And every once in a while you hear like states like Oklahoma and Texas do still have capital punishment, and it seems like every time there is an execution, there is a problem.
Yeah. Okay, so Illinois abolished the death penalty in 2011. It's a lot longer than I thought.
What about Washington?
Okay, we're gonna. Why don't we do this? What states? What state is Missouri? That's really weird. That's a crazy question.
That Google search is coming from inside Missouri.
Okay, what death penalty? Which states do it? Who was killed the most? Wow, this is by USA Today, Ben.
I'm gonna say Texas.
Okay, let's see. What states still have the death penalty? Ooh, wow. They colored them red. 21 states, Ben.
Yeah.
21. Are you ready? Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, North Carolina, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, and Wyoming.
No real surprises in there. I think the only one that kind of surprises me is Indiana.
Okay, Indiana is not great.
It feels like, I mean,
in many ways.
I've actually never been there. All I know is that it has Indianapolis, which feels like a large progressive city, and which might be a controlling seat of the state, but I could be completely off base here.
So, all right. 6 states still consider the death penalty legal, but have put executions on hold for various reasons, like the shaky reliability of execution drugs.
Yeah.
Arizona, California, Oregon, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Tennessee. The rest of the United States, which includes Washington and Illinois, do not have the death penalty, including red states like North Dakota and Alaska, and the bluest states like Vermont and Massachusetts. So Illinois, pretty blue state. Pretty blue state. Oh,
it's more of a periwinkle blue.
So, yeah. Snatch, Ben. It's good. We love it.
It's for me, ma.
As opposed to Cornflower Blue, which is Fight Club, both starring Brad Pitt. Interestingly enough.
Conspiracy? Read the book.
What book? Yeah, do it. So here's the big thing I will say. I am happy to being. I'm happy that I am moving to Chicago.
Yeah.
Prior to the election, I'm hoping that my registration to vote in Illinois is not weirdly affected by the fact that I'm moving inside Illinois from one place to another.
I think it'll be less annoying than if you were moving out of state, but
I think so
again,
too.
you probably want to double and triple check your registration status once you've landed.
Yeah, there are tons of changes that it's weird. I can't make the. It's not like I'm moving to a new place the same way. I'm moving to a new place that I'm going to be owning. So when I don't own it, there's a lot of stuff I can't do. I've set up.
Tear down this wall.
Yeah, Mr. Gorbachev.
I need some home reno done.
Oh man, that's Ben. Do you remember
Probably
the
not.
wall at the house at South Park when we were living there? There was a piece of fake brick, and
Oh yeah.
we took one of it out, and then it was like, oh no, this is a problem, and just kept on. That is what I'm trying to avoid with this new house.
Yeah.
Not doing anything myself.
Good plan.
Like trying to wrestle the raccoon myself, for example. Do you know about the raccoon? You know about the raccoon.
You told me
Talk
about the raccoon. Have you named it yet?
No, it's not going to have a name. It's not going to have a name. Like I said, I talked to a guy. He's going to take care of it. Hopefully all this stuff is going to work out. Again, the stuff that's occupying my mind the most now is that balance between what we're packing up and what we're throwing away.
Yeah.
And the logistics of how to do it. Because we're throwing away Betty's bed. But Betty's got to sleep in the bed. And Betty's going to be here until the day that we pack stuff up.
Has Betty outgrown the bed?
Yes. It's not that it's too... Here's what I would say. It's not that she's like too big for it, but it's a bunk bed on top of a desk.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, not something that she's really interested in keeping.
There's a lifespan on those things. I think they're good for students, good for kids, but as an adult, you don't want to sleep in. It feels like it's a generational thing, right? You don't want to have one of those things as an adult.
Right. I do, but that's its own.
You're a rare specimen, Paul Goody.
I don't know, man. I think I would like to maybe sleep in a hammock, like
outside underneath the stars.
Oh no, like in a hull of a ship. Hold of a ship. But yeah, so Jennifer and I, the plan is that we're not moving. We're moving the bed that we have, and Betty's going to have that one. Yeah. And then we're going to have a bed delivered. So the bed is there when Jennifer and Betty get there. And then they're going to stay in that bed while I get ready to move to the new place. It's going to be interesting. So
and you've taken time off of work to make sure.
I've taken 2 weeks off of work.
Yeah.
So that all of it is, handled by the time I get there.
Yeah.
Is the plan.
Sounds like a good plan.
Oh, hey, have I shown you my new phone case, by the way? It's my favorite phone case. Look at this.
It's got one of those popper things on the back.
It feels like it was made in Oz, is why I really like it.
Because it's emerald?
Well, it's emerald and then that sort of brass. Hey, wait a second. What is your birthstone, Ben?
I have no earthly idea.
Really? Mine is an emerald. That's why I was wondering.
Oh. I always thought it was turquoise.
Oh, no.
But I think it's wrong. I think that's wrong.
Ben David Lawrence?
Yeah.
Birthday. Oh, no. No.
Yeah, we're nowhere near it. Don't worry.
When is it?
March the 9th.
It is March. It is. I was saying March. I was saying March. I did not remember that though. Uh,
Quite all right.
but yeah. Wow, March, Ben, that's your birthday month, and we have a
Yeah,
song called March.
we do.
Imagine.
In like a
We should
lion.
have another song called May, where we're asking for permissions for things. Um,
Or we
so
talking about
yeah, but
Spider-Man's aunt.
there's there's only two things I'm afraid of: spiders and women and Spider Women. Is that? Does he say two things I'm afraid
Yeah,
of? The only things I'm afraid of are spiders and
yeah,
women and Spider Women. That's what it is. I think.
yeah. He doesn't
What a
say two things.
show! What a nice show.
Dog Soldiers.
Yeah, Dog Soldiers is good.
Dog
Dog
Soldiers
Soldiers,
is the only movie that I own on Blu-ray.
really?
Yeah,
Ben, what?
because it was given to
What?
me.
Do you own movies on DVD?
Yeah, I every single DVD I purchased up until I stopped buying DVDs, I still have.
So you stopped buying DVDs before Blu-rays came out.
I think about the time the format wars started up again, Blu-ray versus
Mm.
HD DVD. I stopped buying and also like when when I was able to connect Netflix to my Nintendo Wii and I could stream movies,
Yeah.
that sort of started the decline of my
Oh,
purchasing DVDs because I'm
then
like I have all this stuff available to me. Now, the reason why I have not gotten rid of my DVDs is because I do realize that streaming is tenuous and I might not have the rights or the capability to watch all of the movies available to me on stream. But my DVD player will still work.
yeah. I've actually thought of this, Ben. It makes me a little bit nervous, but you remember how at one point in time we've had these conversations forever that
Yeah.
oh, you just have a script and you put in the actors and the director and then it makes a movie for you. And
Yeah.
now AI is basically going to make that possible, and
Yeah.
it's going to be crazy. I was thinking about it the other day. There is a DVD that we are never a DVD set we're never going to get rid of that has the original Star Wars films
Yeah.
before George Lucas's updates to them. So we have those, right? They're there. We're never going to get rid of them. At some point in time, you may not be able to listen to a song or watch a TV show or whatever without AI enhancing it, and
It's
that makes
possible.
me freak out a little bit, right? That it'll just tweak the color or it'll change, this part or whatever. It is possible. And so I'm thinking about that DVDs might be useful if at some point in time you're never able to stream something without it being adjusted.
Well, even the DVDs that you have of the original trilogy have been modified in some way from the original theatrical release. Now, I'm not talking about like CG anything, but like I've seen some videos of people comparing, say, the original VHS copy versus the DVD copy versus the Blu-ray copy, and there are subtle tweaks in each one. Like the
Mm.
DVDs are, the color correction is off from like the original theatrical like VHS, you know.
Wow,
So
interesting.
there's a big fan movement, you probably know, but there's a big fan movement to like try to recreate the original theatrical 35 millimeter print of A New Hope.
That would be really interesting to
And
see.
people are taking like elements from each release that Lucasfilm has put out.
And then there's the thing: is do you do it as the original theatrical release, or do you make it better? Did you see the thing where the people did that fight choreography for Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader?
I've seen some of those.
Yeah, they're really cool. People make the fights look better.
Oh yeah. There, I won't, I won't believe I am watching an original theatrical release of Star Wars: A New Hope until I see the scene in space when you can see the matte boxes around the TIE fighters as they're flying.
Yes, I do remember that. I have heard.
That's how I know it's
Uh,
genuine.
I haven't. I think I told you about this. I saw uh, Empire Strikes Back before I saw Star Wars: A New Hope because I wasn't allowed to watch movies when it came out, and then I did get to see The Empire Strikes Back, and then I didn't get to see Star Wars until it was on VHS and we were able to watch it.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. The other thing that I think is kind of cool is that I suddenly, and we might have even talked about it on the podcast, solved a mystery from a long time ago.
Oh, have you?
When I was a kid, I saw a robot drive a car and go into my neighbor's house. Right? It was a robot. It was a
Robot
it was
drove a car,
a metal
went to your neighbor's house,
person
got out of the car, and went
and
into
walked
the house.
into his neighbor's house. That would have been. It was after my first adopted mom died, and she died when I was 3. I was born in 1973, so that would have been 1976. So it was at least, around 1976. I
When I was born.
absolutely believe that what I saw now was my neighbor dressed as C-3PO for some sort of party or
76 would have been too early for that.
no. It was past. I know it was after 1976, so
Oh,
it
yeah.
would have been. Wait,
Star Wars was
when did
released in
Star Wars come out?
77.
Yeah, so it would have been right around that time because we moved from that house in 1979 or 1980.
Okay.
So it would have been right at the sweet spot when that would have come out. So pretty exciting.
Cosplaying as
For me.
C-3PO, if in 1977, 1978, that's pretty advanced fandom there. I wouldn't have thought that was a thing.
Well, I was a kid, right? So I feel like seeing someone in even a plastic mask of some kind
Yeah.
would have worked. I don't know. I could have been a robot too. Could have been that there was a robot. I mean, I remember things. I remember things, Ben, that probably didn't happen. I've told you about this before, where I was on the farm and the farmer had a like a levitating piece of farm equipment.
A
That probably
levitating
didn't happen.
piece of...
Yeah, it was like it ran
Not in
on
the late
like
70s.
fans or on like magnets, one of the two kind of things. It had these little pods. It lifted up off the ground. It floated like a boat kind of.
Saw a UFO.
Well, no, it wasn't in the air. It was on the ground.
Ah.
So I saw, a thing that didn't exist. I don't know what it really was, right? And then the tripods. Obviously, the tripods didn't happen.
The tripods.
Yeah. Basically water towers, except they were moving.
Okay.
And yeah, probably, like I said, probably a dream. Probably a dream that I had. The suggestion is that when you're a little kid, you don't know the difference between when you're dreaming and when you're not.
Yeah.
And these memories are around.
That's why everything
Most
is so scary.
kids maybe don't have dreams, or memories of when they were like 3 or whatever, that they're able to differentiate that well. But I have that. My mom's death is a before and after time scale. So I know, I remember this happening when my mom was still around. So I would have been around 3.
Yeah.
2 or 3. So yeah. Speaking of which, my dad gave me a whole bunch of like papers that my mom did with me when I was a kid, where I would draw something and she'd write what it was that I had drawn really detailed.
Like you would tell her what you were
I would
drawing.
tell what I was drawing,
Yeah.
and then she put it. I mean, they're squiggles, right? But they've
Yeah.
got all of her notes on them, so it's pretty cool.
Attack fighters off the belt of Orion.
It's she was a kind of a hippie-ish person. Uh, Free to Be You and Me, Ben. I don't know if you know about. Are you familiar with Free to Be You and Me?
I know of it.
It's great. It's great, and it makes you a kinder child when you listen to it.
Think a
When
lot
you're
of
in your
people should
formative
take.
years.
A lot of people should have had that sort of instruction as children.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that was the whole idea of the movement in the first place. So we'll see what happens. But oh, Ben, oh, I'm just it. It is. Yeah, I do feel like the whole staying up and everything like that thing. I'm not doing it as badly, but I do feel like
Staying up.
sick and worn out all the time.
Yeah. You're not been
being able
sleeping?
to. Well, this is the thing: is that I mean, I have been, but I haven't been sleeping as well as I could have.
Right.
And it just, I mean, it's all. I'm not exerting myself or anything like that. It's just stressful because of, so much change looming. It hasn't even happened yet. It's
I
just
mean,
looming.
I get that. I have
In a good way. I'm happy about it, but
I if I'm doing something where I don't know what's going to happen, the build up is so much more stress inducing than the actual thing itself. Like not to like an extreme, but like let's say what was happening recently. I can't remember what. I'm going to make something up, right? So if I'm going someplace and I don't know if there's going to be parking, and so I don't know if I'm going to have to drive around for parking, I will actually work myself up into like a low level anxiety before I even get there, and because I'm worried about where I'm going to park, and then like the actual act of like, oh, I found parking, it wasn't that bad, or other things where let's say going to a job interview, the day before going to a job interview, the day of going to a job interview, there's like I will spend the day on the toilet because I'm stressed so much. But then getting into the interview and being there and doing the thing it's like being on stage, right? You sort of like all of that goes away and you're in the moment. And why was I so stressed out?
I mean, this is one of the things that, I mean, bring it back to the whole premise of the podcast. GudeLaurance, one of the things that we don't talk about a lot, but it's absolutely true, is that there were 2 bathrooms at Annex, which was great because you and I both have this thing of right before I go on stage, I'm going to use the bathroom, can't not do that, and it really is a stress, a fight or flight kind of,
totally.
and then once you're there, then it's like, okay, well, here we are, and nothing. This is something that Henry Rollins said, but it really is true. Nothing can go wrong when we're on stage, and meaning that, it's especially when you're a performance artist. I don't know about anything else, but I know this. It's like not 100%, but close to 90% of your attitude. Much like they say, a kid isn't going to cry when he gets hurt until he looks at his mom and knows that, how do I feel about this?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. You and I, let the audience know what's happening right now is cool. and you should like it. You should like what's going on right now. That whole thing.
We're having fun, so you should have fun.
Exactly. This is okay. Yes, you can laugh at this if you want. Yes, you can be scared. Either one of those is fine. That whole thing. So,
Totally.
and maybe that's what it is with life.
And that's the lesson for today on the GudeLaurance podcast.
That's right. We have about a minute left, Ben, up until now. We are for sure going to have the same podcast that we normally do next week. And then it's a week after that we're not sure how things are going to go. So we'll keep you informed. Hopefully next week I'll be able to tell people more about it.
It's getting close. Oh my goodness, it's getting so close. I never thought I did not actually think this was going to happen before I made it out, but look at you go.
We'll see how it. I mean, all signs point to yes. This will be happening.
Thank you, Magic 8 Ball. Yes, thank you, exactly. Magic 8 Paul.
Magic. Oh Jesus. Ben. Oh man. Is that going to be my only other tattoo? A triangle that's an 8-ball with a triangle that says all signs point to yes. That's not bad.
No means no, but all signs point to yes.
Oh my god. Oh, I like it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Ben, once again, keep it wrong.
I am going to register magic8paul.com once we're done here.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Oh, yeah. You know, Ben, we could actually make this a legit website. We'll record me saying all the different things. You set it up randomly.
Whenever you log in.
When you log in, it'll play it'll play one of the clips randomly.
Yeah.
We could do it. That is a workable scenario.
That's going to take so little time to set up, so little money to start, is going to make us both millionaires.
We'll find out. We'll find out
next week on the GudeLaurance podcast.
Find out that it's already taken.
It's probably
somebody already.
And if it's not a person, it's some sort of fake AI generated.
Try it though, and Ben, I will do this. I will do this for sure.
I'll be there in a couple weeks. We can add that onto the filming.
Thanks, Ben. Talk to you more later.
Bye, Paul. Bye.
All right, bye.